Do not attempt to adjust your set. This is a Streaming Freedom video bulletin. It cannot be stopped, and it is the only free voice left on the net. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. For today's Skyrim mod video on the PS4, I wanted to try to provide a better video explaining the creations page now that I'm a little bit more familiar with it than I was previously able to do so. I will be giving a walkthrough for those that need it to the best of my ability, but please remember that this page is still as new to me as it is to you, as well as pointing out some of the various bugs I have discovered while going through this page. This video is aimed at anybody, like myself, that do not like the changes made to the page to hopefully make it a more enjoyable experience. One thing to keep in mind when loading this page is that the images do take a long time to actually load in, and I suggest letting them load completely before attempting to navigate it. And if you are somebody that is crashing when trying to load this page, some have reported success by going into the loader as soon as possible. So if we scroll a little ways down the page here, you'll notice the update section where currently the unofficial patch needs an update. One bug that I want to point out is when using the category option and going to update it, you'll see nothing actually appears. Sometimes mods that do not need to be updated appear in here. It seems to be bugged. So if you want to check for an update, do it from the main page, or alternatively, you can go into options and select this, update all installed creations. However, keep in mind this will update any and all creations that require an update, so if you do not want something updated, do it manually from the main page. So one of the best features that was added into this, and one of the few that I like, is the categories option, which you can access by hitting L2. You can scroll down here as you see, and you'll see everything that we currently have is mods that were in the same sections on the old page, with the exception of, you'll notice, the work in progress section is missing. Now alternatively, thanks to a friend, Omega Fries Gaming, who suggested it, you can go and get some work in progress mods by typing WIP into the search function. However, this does not bring up the actual category, only mods that have WIP in their title, or some mods like Skyrim Restored, which is actually a completed mod, but lists one of the areas it restores as work in progress in its description. The latest category that we see here, we'll go ahead and load up. I want to point something out for newer players. Now, all the mods here are free, with the exception of right here. This mod is one of the two new pay mods that was added in the update. As you can see, it costs 500 credits. Currently, there are only two pay mods available on PlayStation. However, more could be added into the future, so especially for you newer players, if you see this icon, know that that is pay content, and be careful when navigating the mod section. If we take a look at the banner, you'll notice here the two pay mods are highlighted, and this might be where the additional ones, if we get any, will be added in the future. The featured category, if it works as it did before, will change every month to highlight certain mods to the community. The next sections, Verified Creations, Bethesda Game Studios, and Creation Club all seem to take you to the same area, which is mainly the CC content. Here you can see CC that you own, CC that is still available for purchase, as well as go to any CC that is owned but not installed and install it. One thing to keep in mind is that it seems like some of these do not actually show if they're installed or not. You will need to go into them to actually see if they are. The updated category, as I said, is bugged and right now isn't currently working, so select that from the main page. The My Library section, this is something that I wanted to cover because this is something that confused me at first. Now what it seems to be is a record of any and all mods that you have ever installed since your very first mod install of Skyrim. Even if it was only briefly, anything that you have downloaded will appear here. I was first confused by this because while many of the mods I recognized, there were a few that I didn't. However, I soon realized they were ones that I may have accidentally clicked. Once a mod is added to this section, it does not appear, at least as of the date of the recording of this video, that it can be removed. You can download all creations from in my library in the options menu. However, I do not suggest doing this. If you do that, it will try to add in multiple mods that you have. If you have tested, say, multiple lighting or weather mods, for example, it will put them all into the loader, and if they are all active, will mainly crash your game. A better thing to be able to use, and another thing I like, is the bookmarks section. Here you can bookmark all mods and CC content, including the pay mods if you have them, and add them to this section. I suggest doing this with any mods in your loader for easy access. You can easily find them here. You can also do this with mods that are not currently in your loader, but perhaps you want to keep track of. This is one of the sections that I do really like and I think works well. Next, let's take a look at the search function. By pressing L1, you can bring up a search bar. From here, you can search for any creation either by its title or by mod author name. For example, here I am going to type Cyan49 into the search. Press R2 to complete it, and if the game finds anything by this particular mod author, it will display here. Keep in mind it may take a while for the images here to load too, although typically not as long as on the main page. The first time that you come into the Creations tab each time though, make certain to load from the main page or the mod loader if you can, otherwise this can take just as long. Speaking of the mod loader, you can get into it at any point by pressing triangle. Here you can see that once your images load, which you want to wait for to start scrolling, that any mods that are active will have a white diamond, mods that are inactive will have a black diamond, mods with a thumbs up are of course mods that you have liked, and you can scroll down the list here. One thing to keep in mind again is you really want to wait for the mod loader to completely load these images. I found I crash more often when scrolling through with images not loaded. A tip I can give that helps me when going through the loader to lessen the likelihood of a crash but does not prevent it is to scroll slowly. I've noticed when scrolling fast I'm much more likely to crash, but it does do it when scrolling at this speed too. Normally if it slightly pauses as I'm moving down the list, it will crash. By pressing the touchpad, you can bring up the load order archive where you can restore and save to BethesdaNet the current load order. However, I have heard reports that this is bugged and does not work. I have not tested it myself, so I cannot provide any further information on it at this time. You can access the options menu from anywhere by selecting options, which brings up the following. You can turn off the music that you're hearing here in the main page. You can disable the creation check on load. What this is supposed to do is disable the game checking for missing creations, like creations that you have deleted when loading your current save. However, this is bugged. I have checked to see by disabling it, which is actually by toggling it with X like this, which I believe is supposed to stop it from checking for missing creations once it says this. However, it seems to be bugged, as I've noticed that it will go ahead and just enable itself again, usually when the game crashes. For right now, I suggest just leaving it default setting, which is this right here. If you've messed with it before, the default setting that it came with is this: disable missing creations check on load. You can also update all installed creations, enable all creations, disable all creations, download all owned creation club creations, download all creations from in my library, but again I recommend not doing this, and finally delete all creations. And if you are going to delete all your creations for some reason, I first suggest bookmarking them and using the bookmark section to add them back. It will be much easier to find them that way. Next, you can go into purchase credits by hitting square, but I will not be doing that in this video. Pressing X to select any of the categories as you see here, or you can back out of this menu by pressing circle. So, a few of the things that I do like about this menu. My views on the menu have not changed, but I like this right here where we can go to any section at any point. I do actually like the bookmark section too. I do think that is really good to be able to easily find everything, as well as being able to see the diamonds that we have here is a nice way to quickly see what is toggled on and off, as before it was a check mark if I recall correctly. So with everything said and done, my experiences with the new creation section is still mainly a negative one. It's very off-putting that I have to wait so long for it to load everything. Even if I just want to go into the loader and change something, I have to wait an extremely long time, and if I don't, it's most likely going to crash me. I think this could have been remedied if the categories option would have been made the default setting, where you could simply open certain sections that you wanted and not everything would try to load at the same time. Still, I hope that this video will be a better help than I was previously able to do and explain this a little bit better for those that needed it. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Take care.